Welcome, everyone. Hope all of you are having a wonderful day today. Today is Tuesday. So a few things to go ahead and talk about the market. We're going to go ahead and take a look at what's going on today. But let me go ahead and start sharing my screen. So there you go. Hopefully there's not that much of a delay on your end, because I do see there's a slight little lag on the back end. So we're going to go ahead and go into it. We're going to go ahead and talk a little bit about what has been happening in the market, a few strategies that you could go ahead and consider. A very positive thing that I am with Bitcoin right now, altcoins in specific as well. I think we are gearing up for a possibility of a bottom for altcoins, and that altcoin season we've all been waiting for could be happening sooner than we all expect. So a lot of good things to go ahead and talk about. These last couple weeks have been a really good time in the market, and it's really good to go ahead and finally see the market do something instead of doing nothing, right? Because it's a really boring time in the market when the market's going sideways. But the good thing is, as the market is going sideways, you could also always go ahead and take advantage of liquidity pools. And yeah, so you could also have fun on that end. So there's always something to do in crypto, right? Whether it's studying some new blockchains, looking for some new gems, or looking into some charts. But it's definitely a lot more entertaining when the market is doing well. So let's go ahead and get into it. We're going to go ahead and take a look at crypto bubbles, looking at the yearly as we see all across the board. Still red. That's one thing that I want to go ahead and mention to everyone, that altcoins are still down from a year ago. A lot of these tokens actually went ahead and pumped nicely over 100, 200, even some of them 300%, but yet many of them are still down 60+%. So as you see all across the board, there's a few winners. Virtual, for example, is still doing very well, but all across the board, you see 60, 70, 50% down, right? So say right now, 60% down from its all-time high. So still really good buying opportunities for a lot of these altcoins. And of course, this is not financial advice, guys, but we're going to go ahead and get straight into it on the monthly. As we see, memes have been performing really well. The decentralized exchange tokens have also been doing very well. Hype at 82%. I don't know what White is. White Rock, maybe a meme coin, because I know BlackRock, so I'm assuming that's what this is. But let's go ahead and take a look at the weekly. A little bit of a correction. I think this is something that we were definitely looking for in the market. We needed a little bit of a correction before we start heading back up. So we're going to talk a little bit about that in a minute. But on the daily, not much has either been going on. And same thing with the hourly. Not much really going on in the hourly. Now, there is a few things I want to go ahead and touch up on. We're going to go ahead and touch up on some news. But before we do that, we're going to go ahead and talk about the fear and greed of the market, specifically Bitcoin. So taking a look at how the fear and greed is doing right now, we do see that we are currently at a 62 level of greed. Highly recommend all of you to go ahead and make that a bookmark on your search when you're looking for anything when it comes to the market. As far as like analysis, the best tool that you can go ahead and use is use the fear and greed chart. Very simple. You do not need to know any charts. And it definitely does give you a little bit more information of what's going on with the sentiment of the market. So as we see, greed currently right now at 62. Yesterday we were at 64 with greed. Last week at 71, and last month we were neutral, ending at 52. So we do see that the next update will be coming in 23 hours. So we'll see how it goes tomorrow, and see if we could go ahead and see a switch in the market. But I think from last I looked into the market, and I looked at the market earlier this morning, things were looking really good. And I actually have a few things that I really want to go ahead and point out. This bullish pattern that I've been seeing forming on both Bitcoin and also Ethereum. So make sure to go ahead and watch and continue to watch on this stream. Right now, we're going to go ahead and cover some quick news that I went ahead and came across that we could go ahead and talk about. And then we're going to go ahead and dive into charts. And of course, always feel free to comment down below if you want me to do some TA on any of the tokens that you're holding on to or considering of jumping into. So let's go ahead and take a look with the first news that I came across. A Trump branded crypto wallet is going to be launching very soon, but the president and his family deny that there's any kind of involvement. So apparently, from what we see right here, Magic Eden and the team behind Trump's meme coin have actually went ahead and partnered to create an official Trump branded crypto wallet. Really interesting. According to Magic Eden, but Trump's son went ahead and took to social media and said he has nothing to do with it. He has no idea what's going on. Or any of that. And same thing with Trump himself. Trump media went ahead and mentioned that they really don't know what's going on with this. So what do you guys think? Do you guys think there's some sort of involvement? Do they know? Do they not know? Maybe their team's running it and they don't even know what's going on, which could be very, very possible. But it does look right here from what we see. It says Trump media, which is primarily owned by the president, has also teased prospect of launching a digital wallet. But now there's being claims that they don't have any involvement. I don't know how that works. So we'll see where things go. But this is something brand new. We'll see how the market reacts to this. But one of the other news that has been pretty big, and today Robinhood actually did very well, and so did the stock market slightly. Robinhood actually now finally went ahead and closed on their $200 million Bitstamp deal. So Bitstamp is a platform very similar to like Coinbase, Kraken, where you could go ahead and trade, and they went ahead and purchased that exchange. So Robinhood actually went ahead and made this announcement. I believe it was almost a year ago, if I'm not mistaken. I would say between 8 months, 6 to 8 months. I'm thinking it might have been a year. I remember talking about Robinhood, or I think it's getting close to a year. I remember talking about this back in like November. I mean, it looks like their deal is now finally going through. It looks like a lot of companies are actually doing this, right? A lot of companies are merging, being bought out, and Robinhood took advantage of Bitstamp as the market was down and purchased it for $200 million. So that is something that is pretty huge in regards to a new exchange that is now going to be pushed to retail investors. Now, this platform has been going since 2011. I haven't personally used it. I have helped a few students navigating around the platform. This is what the platform looks like. Perhaps we could probably go ahead and reach out to them and see if we could get some sort of special deal for all of you guys. But this is what the platform looks like. And now, as we see, this is Bitstamp by Robinhood. So this is definitely a way better platform than what Robinhood is currently. This is a way better platform. I just like blanked out. This is a way better platform and a better user interface as far as when it comes to advanced trading than Robinhood. Robinhood's really nice. I prefer Robinhood. I like Robinhood. That's a platform that I like to use when it comes to stocks and options. I've tried many brokers, and I still go back to Robinhood. I mean, the fact that it's really easy to place an order, buy and sell, trade options, it doesn't really have to be complicated, right? But you can go ahead and really do too many advanced things. And now with Bitstamp, now you can go ahead and do that. I do remember from last I checked, as I mentioned, when I was helping another student last year move some Bitcoin, it was pretty pricey. So hopefully we could go ahead and see some prices coming down. But yeah, Robinhood and Bitstamp. So pretty big news. We're going to see how retail reacts to this. Another thing that I wanted to go ahead and talking about retail and the market coming back. So Bigot, the chief operating officer, says retail is back, but not exactly where you think, right? So he basically just talks about in this article how back in 2020, during the pandemic, it was a different time, right? More people had extra funds to go ahead and throw into the market. More people were willing to take on that risk due to the free money that was being accessed all across the world and through stimulus, right? Through unemployment and things like that. And that's what really went ahead and pushed the market and brought in the liquidity. And not so much compared to now, right? Like now, it seems like people are dried up with liquidity, especially mostly due with the last bear market that we had. A lot of people got wrecked. A lot of people lost money with a lot of these exchanges going down, right? Keep in mind, over 3 exchanges went ahead and collapsed and went bankrupt. So a lot of investors had a lot of their funds in these platforms, and it took over 2 to 3 years plus through the whole entire bankruptcy to then go ahead and get their payout, and their payout was 50 to 60% off to compared to what they went ahead and deposited it originally, right? I guess some money is better than no money, but that's what basically the chief operating officer is talking about in Bigot, that retail is here, but not with the same kind of liquidity that we once had a while ago, right? Now, what do I personally think? I definitely do agree. I think for me personally, I feel like retail is not fully here. We did a little bit of a Google trend search. What was it, last week? If we go over to Google Trends, we went ahead and actually checked and took a look at what was trending. This is one of the best ways to go ahead and see how people are feeling about certain topics, right? We go ahead and type in the word Bitcoin on Google Trends. We have been seeing a little bit of an increase with the term Bitcoin, but if we actually go ahead and go over to the 90 days, and we're just doing this based on the US, right? Just because the US doesn't really have that much activity going into crypto, and most of the activity at one point was coming from the US. Now it's coming from other countries. Mostly Asia is really what pumps the market nowadays. But as we see right now in the US, the term Bitcoin has been slightly searched, right? And keep in mind, we've had so many positive things. We have a positive administration when it comes to cryptocurrencies, which is a very huge thing. One thing that we all dreamed of years ago when we were involved in this blockchain technology, right? It was like almost a dream talking about one day this technology will be used. One day this is all going to be huge, right? One day everyone's going to be running to use this technology. And it's crazy to see that now we have a lot of political involvement, institutional interest, something that we all dreamed of years ago being in the crypto market, right? Almost feels so unreal. Yet we're not seeing that when it comes all across the board, when it comes to retail interest, right? Like the excitement's not there, the hype is not there. So for me personally, I feel like retail is not here yet. As I mentioned, just by looking at the term Bitcoin, we do see that back in 2020, we started to see this massive increase with the term of Bitcoin. And last we saw the massive surge of Bitcoin was, of course, during the presidential election that was going on. As the election was going on, that's where the increase came in. And that's why we had like that mini altcoin season where a lot of these tokens took off. We were all expecting that continuation to happen, and it didn't. Went ahead and dumped, crushed a lot of people, and a lot of people that went ahead and got in at the top of the market this December went ahead and probably sold at a loss or probably walked away from the market. It is not as active right now, right? So we do see right now that as far as Bitcoin, the term is not really trending. We do see that we are building some sort of support right here, but we are not at the levels that we were back in 2020 and 2021 as the market was taking off. So realistically speaking, no one really cares about Bitcoin or crypto yet, right? Keep in mind, we're like almost a 3 trillion plus market cap overall with the whole entire market, yet no one really knows who we are. So that means opportunity. Taking a look at the word crypto on its own, looking at the 5 years, we also see that back around 2020 and 2021, that's where we got most of the search volume coming in. And last we got that search volume was once again around the election. And we have been actually seeing a decrease since. So we need to go ahead and start getting that momentum back up. What could that be? I'm thinking maybe possibly rate cuts is what's going to start bringing in a lot more liquidity and more risk on to the market overall. But as we see, retail, in my opinion, is not here yet. So what that means, in my opinion, is that there's still a lot of opportunities left before we start to see the market have that massive, massive upside. Chad, how's it going, man? Welcome in. Good to see you here. Yo, John, keep laying it down. Appreciate you for your support, Chad. Chad is one of our members from our private community, so always good to go ahead and see all of you guys here. But yeah, keep that in mind. Trends. No one is really searching for these trends, right? Now, I'm very curious. Are people searching for the term Deutsch? Because now keep in mind, we have the Department of Government efficiency. You can't make this up. So let's go ahead and take a look at the 12-month. And there really hasn't been much of a search. Dogecoin is not really a thing. The biggest search that we had was back in February. And then we go ahead and take a look at the 5-year. I'm curious to see. I've never seen this. We've actually had more of a search volume coming in than we had during the pandemic around the 2020 and 2021 era, right? So it's interesting to see that Doge actually had more search volume coming in, yet we didn't break past that $1 mark for Dogecoin. So very interesting. Of course, now we have the Department of Government Efficiency, so that could have been people also curiously searching up the term to see what that meant. But we did see a massive surge, but even with Doge, we also don't really see much of an increase coming in. Now, one thing I want to go ahead and talk about, stock market went ahead and did today. S&P 500 and NASDAQ rise as NVIDIA jumps to its highest since January. So we all are actually seeing a really good increase coming in with the stock market as well. NASDAQ has been performing really well. We'll talk a little bit about it more in the charts, but we are literally, last I checked, about a 3% move from hitting all-time highs. So very excited to see where we're at today with how the market ended, but the market ended pretty good. Stocks did good today. Crypto did take a little bit of a hit, but Bitcoin and Ethereum, in my opinion, are holding up very well. So now let's go ahead and talk about 6 things that you need to go ahead and keep in mind about Circle, the company that went ahead and created USDC. They're actually going to be going public, and it's going to be this week. I do not know exactly when, but it will be this week. A few things you need to go ahead and consider is really Circle's business. Their biggest asset was the digital dollar, which is the USDC. I know a lot of people always ask me, about the CBDC. This is, I would say, in my opinion, the closest we'll get to it. If not, this is probably what it is. For all of you that might not know, the USDC is actually backed by Treasury issued securities and also cash held in their vaults. So that's one of the biggest things to consider. Another thing to consider is that Circle actually moved its headquarters from Boston to New York last year. You know how it is over there in New York when it comes to a lot of these crypto companies. Super, super regulated. A lot of things you really can't even do out there. I know a lot of you that are out there in New York are very limited with the platforms you could use and the assets you could trade. So it looks like this is one of the main reasons they probably moved out there, is to go ahead and grow. And as you see, they are now going public. One of the biggest things is that their business is dependent on interest rates, which is sort of a risk to always go ahead and consider. And Circle's biggest competitor is Tether, which is one of the newest ones, not one of the newest ones, one of the oldest ones. It was first USDT and then USDC. But that is Circle's, or should I say USDC's biggest competitor. But keep in mind, now there's a lot of companies coming out with stablecoins. I mean, even Trump's team came out with their own stablecoin called USD1, which is also backed by US security. So it's kind of crazy to see that now a lot of these companies are running to go ahead and create their own stablecoin. PayPal has its own stablecoin called PUSD, I believe, or PYUSD, which is PayPal USD stablecoin. So a lot of companies are now introducing stablecoins because they've realized how profitable they really are. And this is the reason why we're now seeing this phase of all these companies going into creating the next stablecoin, right? Circle, as I mentioned, is becoming the symbol of the US because it is regulated. And I'm wondering, maybe USDC is our CBDC that we all fear of, right? But anyways, let's go ahead and talk about charts. Let's take a look at how the market is looking. Taking a look at the NASDAQ as we talked. NASDAQ is looking really, really good. We do see some upward momentum coming in, and it looks like we could be seeing some continuation to the upside in the next coming days. I do expect, as I mentioned to a lot of you, I give it less than 3 weeks for this market to make new all-time highs and possibly even seeing Ethereum break out past that $2,700 resistance. So as we see with the NASDAQ right now, we are, if we go ahead and measure where we're currently at from its previous all-time high from back at around December, we do see that we are about a 2.52% move away from hitting all-time high. So some really good, exciting times in the market. Very scary down here, but For all of you that took advantage during April with cryptocurrencies and the stock market, you are doing very, very well. So congratulations. I think our time will be coming when all these altcoins start to run up, and so does the rest of the crypto market. So definitely looking forward to that. But NASDAQ is looking really good. Now, one thing I was a little bit concerned was with gold. As I mentioned, we want to see gold, and this is the move that I was expecting and I wanted gold to go ahead and do. And as we see, gold has not been respecting that. So let's go ahead and start deleting some of this. And now let's go ahead and eye it, because keep in mind, I'm still not fully, discouraged about this, because we do need to see gold falling in order to see Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies in general outperform. I did mention in the last couple of weeks that there was a possibility for gold to even come back up even as high as to this area. This is the reason why I circled it. And also back over here, I mentioned we could realistically go as high as over here before we could try to break down one more time. But I'm really hoping that gold breaks down sooner. I definitely do not like what I'm seeing. It does seem like we could be seeing an uptrend coming back up with gold, which is what we do not want to go ahead and see for gold. Keep in mind, gold is an inverse correlation, meaning that when gold goes up, cryptocurrencies usually go down. And this is one of the main reasons why we're seeing right now Bitcoin a little bit stagnant, right? So let's go ahead and talk about Bitcoin. Bitcoin, in my opinion, is looking very, very positive. Has been holding on to support really nicely since early May. So as long as we can continue to go ahead and hold this, I do see Bitcoin definitely probably coming back up and trying to retest towards that breakout back at around this 111. I'm hoping we could go ahead and see some sort of move like this. As I mentioned to all of you a few weeks ago, worst case scenario for Bitcoin is that we see it fall back down over here to around this $92,000, $93,000 range. This is actually where the point of control is at. So this is a very strong area of support, as we see going all the way back right here towards November. So I wouldn't be surprised if Bitcoin was to go ahead and hit $93,000, $97,000. So do not panic if we do start to see Bitcoin fall. As I mentioned, Bitcoin, I think this is the lowest we will see Bitcoin go. If it goes any lower, then we have bigger problems to worry about. We're talking about possibly entering a bear market if we do fall below that $93,000, $89,000 range. So we definitely do not want to see Bitcoin near this zone at all. But I really do think it's possible that the lowest we'll see Bitcoin short term would be around this $93,000. So as long as Bitcoin holds its support, we definitely won't be seeing that. So I will be eyeing Bitcoin these next coming days to see if it continues to get rejected right here. If it does get rejected, we're more than likely you're going to probably see it come back up to 107, 108, get rejected, and then finalize building that head and shoulders pattern, which is one of the main reasons why this would also make sense into why this would correct down to its major area of support, which is $92,000, $93,000. But as far as if we zoom out, Bitcoin's looking very positive. Another move that I mentioned we could possibly be seeing is this massive inverse head and shoulders pattern for Bitcoin. So if Bitcoin does correct, it's actually going to be lining up to this big, massive inverse head and shoulders pattern, which once we break out, guys, it's going to look really, really nice. So we'll see if this plays out. Of course, we need to go ahead and wait. But as you see right here at the bottom, this is what an inverse head and shoulders pattern looks like. And once that breakout happens, the asset class goes up very, very quickly. So this would be very, very bullish for Bitcoin. So do not panic if we do start to see a correction coming down, even to $93,000. Ideally, I wouldn't be surprised if we were to actually just see it pick up steam right here again. But I do think Bitcoin needs to go ahead and cool down. And I actually would like to see it come back down to $93,000, have some very strong momentum, and then just break out. I think that would look very, very nice. So just be on the lookout for Bitcoin. I'm actually really bullish with Ethereum, though. One thing that I am seeing with Ethereum is this bullish pendant breakout, which is currently forming right now. It is in this consolidation zone. As I mentioned, Ethereum has been struggling, breaking past this $2,700 to $2,800 range, which is a very major area of resistance. There's a lot of selling pressure coming in. So if we could go ahead and see Ethereum hold this range, hold this $2,400 range. I mean, it's been holding this range really well. And it has been doing this for about almost going on for a month. So if we could continue to hold this, this is going to look really good, and we could be expecting this breakout. As I mentioned, sooner than later. I think less than 3 weeks, we could be seeing this kind of breakout. Of course, this is all going to be dependent on what happens when it comes to news in the next coming days. But assuming Ethereum continues to hold this nice, strong area of support at around $2,300-$2,400, we could definitely go ahead and start seeing this bullish pendant breakout pattern happening. And once we break past that $2,800, Ethereum is just going to shoot up. So in my opinion, I've been saying this for a while, but I really do believe that this time is going to be Ethereum's time to shine. Solana has been kind of not really performing as good as ETH, but I do believe that we are entering this kind of ETH season where now there's going to be more interest coming into ETH, right? Because Solana has been the hot topic these last couple years, literally almost going on for 2 years plus. Solana has been the hot big topic. Now Sui's picking up, but Ethereum is now coming back up, and I think that's all due to institutional interest. A lot of layer twos also as well. Keep that in mind. But for Ethereum, as I mentioned, some very, very good things. Hey, look, Tristan, my buddy's here. Let's go ahead and see what his question is. So Tristan says, what's your opinion lower than 70K if we do go in a bear market? Yeah, so if we do go below 70, I would say ideally like the lowest we could really see Bitcoin go down to, it's $83,000. This is like, it's not the end of the world. We definitely do have to be biting our fingernails if we do see Bitcoin come down to $83,000. But yeah, if we see Bitcoin go any lower than that, we're talking $80,000, $79,000. I think we're doomed, and I think that's a bear market. So we definitely do not want to entertain this zone right here for Bitcoin. As I mentioned, a worst case scenario would be coming down to 83. I don't think we'll see the zone at all. I really think that the worst, in my opinion, would be around this zone between 93 to 97. That is just based on the fact that this is a POC, which is a point of control, and also where a lot of support is currently at. So this is not a unknown or strange area for Bitcoin to hang around. As we see, Bitcoin has this tendency to hang around here since back over here around November. So if as long as Bitcoin holds around $90,000, we are solid, good to go. But as I mentioned, as we're seeing Bitcoin decrease, it's pretty interesting to see how Ethereum's actually holding up very well, right? We're almost going on for a whole month that ETH has been holding up. And if ETH continues with this momentum, as long as we don't break down below this $2,300 zone, we could be seeing this breakout with ETH, which means that we could be seeing these altcoins run up. So this is one of the main reasons why I've been telling all of you these last couple weeks, alongside with Tristan, consider positioning yourself in altcoins. Of course, it is going to be a risk to be taken. Now, you could do two things. Myself, and I'm sure a lot of you guys are in our private community, we were pretty open about talking about when we were buying. And I was pretty vocal that I was buying back around over here with a lot of my tokens. So right now, I'm not in no rush to go ahead and buy. Right now, I'm just sitting with cash to the side, USDC ready to deploy capital if we do go ahead and get that dip, or if we get that breakout, right? If we do see Ethereum breakout, best believe a lot of these altcoins will be following through. And your two things you could go ahead and do, listen up very, very closely. This is very, very important. If you haven't positioned yourself like you would have wanted to these last couple weeks, do not get FOMO. That is the worst thing that you could go ahead and do. Just be patient. One of the biggest advice that I would give you, and this is definitely advice, is just wait for confirmation. What does that mean? You either wait for Ethereum to break past $2,800, and yes, you're going to have to buy altcoins at a probably a 30-40% price increase. I mean, it is what it is, but don't focus on that. Focus on the fact that now you're taking on a lower risk, because once we see Ethereum break past $2,800, it's 100% confirmed, unless there was some sort of nuclear war to happen, that the bottom was in for ETH. And so you'll actually be taking on a lower risk. So yes, you will have to be buying that asset class at a higher price, whether that's ETH or altcoins. And keep in mind, If ETH breaks out past $2,800, a lot of these altcoins are going to do that times more. Meaning, when you saw this breakout with ETH over a 50% pump, you saw Pepe outperform really, really well, and a lot of these meme coins riding on the Ethereum network, right? So the two things you can go ahead and do, as I mentioned, you can wait for Ethereum to break out, and you can now start taking on that risk because you know the bottom is in for ETH, or we can go ahead and wait for a breakdown to the downside and just let the market break down and then buy the dip. For me personally, as I mentioned, that's what I'm waiting for. I've already positioned myself in the positions that I wanted to. I'm just going to be eyeing the market. I really don't mind whether it goes up or down. If it goes down, nice. If it goes up, even happier. But I'm just waiting right now patiently for the market, just due to the fact that I was positioning myself pretty well down right here in the bottom. Now, keep in mind, there is a few tokens out there that you could be considering as a buying opportunity, right? So these are a little bit more of a higher risk. Keep this in mind. They are more volatile, but Say, in my opinion, is looking pretty juicy. As long as Say right now, we could even see Say realistically even go as low as 17 cents. We do see a lot of rejection coming in, so I wouldn't be surprised if we do see Say come in here, consolidate before we see this breakout. But Say you're ultimately taking a very, very low risk on an asset class like this. Say's all-time high was about $1. If you were to go ahead and load up at around this 18, 19 cent mark, you do see from its all-time high that is about a 5x return of your money, right? This is just hypothetical, but as you see, Say's actually been in a very strong selling pressure. We do see that it started getting rejected at around almost 30 cents. So it looks like we could be finalizing down around the 17 cents. So something like Say could be something good to consider dollar cost averaging. Now, another token I've been pretty big on, and of course, once again, this is a little bit more of a higher risk, higher reward. But the one that I personally like is called a Degen. Degen is a layer 3. It's actually the first layer 3 that we had for base. Degen, let's see, Degen. It's this one, the one with the purple hat. This one is still down over 60% from its all-time high. This token you could actually go ahead and purchase on Coin Market Cap. But as you see for Degen right here, we did actually see looks like some sort of liquidation or something. Look at this. This thing dumped quite a bit. I need to look into that. But for Degen, as long as we go ahead and hold what we're currently at, this is actually looking really good. We are actually seeing what could be a possible cup and handle pattern. So hopefully we can go ahead and find some support and it continues to hold. And then once we start to see ETH break out, I do believe we could be seeing Degen start to break out and come back up. And for Degen, just so you guys can kind of get an idea of what we're looking at for Degen, you're looking at a little bit over a 6x return, if I'm not mistaken. Let's go ahead and measure that together real quick. Like I said, Say and Degen, you could go ahead and purchase both of those on Coinbase. That's about a 12x return of your money, of course, depending on where you buy. But I think this token is also offering a lot of opportunity, but keep in mind, very high risk as well. Another token that I could recommend all of you checking out, for you that are meme coin lovers and like meme coins, want to be exposed to meme coins, I would consider exposing yourselves to the Trump token. The Trump token is basically a blue chip meme coin. It has actually been doing pretty well, in my opinion. I think anything under $20 for the Trump token is a pretty good buying opportunity. What is I thought its ticker symbol was, let's see. I thought its ticker symbol was Trump. So I think it's this one right here. No, that's not it. Let me just look it up directly in CoinMarketCap. But just because there's a better chart out there. Dex Tools is a way better chart than the one on TradingView. Let's go ahead and see. Just because it has all the data. There you go. We're going to copy the smart contract. It's on Solana. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at the Trump token. Just give you some quick entries for any of you that are considering. As I mentioned, if you guys want to be exposed to a meme coin, be exposed to a meme coin with a good community. And I think the Trump token definitely has a pretty good community. So I believe anything under $20 could be a good buy. But of course, keep this in mind. This is also a pretty high risk, but of course not as riskier as your random meme coin, right? So this one, if you do go ahead and buy it around this zone from its all-time high, we're looking at around a 4x. I personally believe that I think we could definitely see Trump's token hit $100 this bull run, which might seem a little bit unrealistic, but keep in mind, guys, this is super, super possible. This is assuming that we do have that altcoin season we're waiting for, and Solana continues to thrive. This is at about an 8x return of your money if you start to load up at around this $11 mark. So there you go. That's 3 tokens right there that you have. Another one that I would consider that's more of a blue chip as well is AVAX. AVAX has a lot of very positive things going on. A lot of games also. I was looking at it yesterday. They actually just came out with a new game. I'll probably touch a little bit more on that in the next coming days, possibly this next live stream with Tristan, but also AVAX right now at a major good buying area. So AVAX, anything under $30, AVAX has been out for over 4 years. Basically considered a blue chip in my eyes, and it has already a lot of things hitting 2 narratives, gaming, and also real world assets. So check out AVAX. I think this is another token you could go ahead and consider. Really good buying entries, guys, as I'm saying. Of course, keep in mind the market could go against us. But as long as we don't have super negative news like in the next coming months, we should be good. We should be good. Another token I would recommend you all checking out for all my XRP lovers out there. If you have XRP, you have to be holding on to XLM. XLM and XRP go together. And I believe, I know there's a lot of hate when it comes to XRP and XLM and these dinosaur tokens, but keep in mind, that's like almost a guaranteed trade, right? Retail is going to be flooding in with the XRP narrative. Keep in mind, that's what moves Bitcoin. That's what moves cryptocurrencies. That what moves the market in general is narratives and communities. And let's be honest, let's not lie to each other. XRP has a very strong community, right? Very strong believers, even though a lot of them believe that XRP is going to hit $1,000, which is not possible in probably over 5 years. We probably won't see $1,000 XRP, but I do believe we could be seeing XRP hitting anywhere between $8 to $12. And $12, in my opinion, is a little bit more of a moon boy kind of talk, but I do think that a lot of people are underestimating XRP. And if you are an XRP believer, check out XLM. XLM is also basically focusing on the same cross-border payment solutions. They've already partnered up with MoneyGram. So XLM, I would recommend. It's a dinosaur token. It's been here for years. I guess you could call it boring tech because it hasn't really done much until we started to see XRP take off back here in October. But as you see, even with XLM, even though it did pump quite a bit, did a nice little 6x return. But if we go ahead and measure from 63 cents, overall, it did correct down to 68%. And currently right now, it's still at a 57% discount, right? So XLM, AVAX, Degen, and the Trump token, it's something I would check out. Another one would be Shiba. I think Shiba is definitely another blue chip meme coin. This token has been out for years. And also keep in mind, Shiba moves with Ethereum. So once Ethereum starts surpassing over $3,200, a lot of these altcoins will be moving. And just to kind of give you a perspective of where Shiba is about almost a 5x if it reaches all-time high from previous cycle, which I think even worst case scenario for Shiba, we could definitely see about a 3 or 4x return of your money, right? So as I mentioned, this is like a beta play on ETH. If you're a believer on ETH, you might want to consider checking out Shiba Inu as well. But those are my picks. I guess I will leave you with one more. Would be also Aerodrome, also a little bit more of a higher risk token. I do want to go ahead and emphasize that, but with Aero, I do believe that as long as we start to see Ethereum take off, make new all-time highs, if we see ETH break past $4,000, guys, I think Aero, a lot of people are comparing this to Uniswap. And I do see, as I mentioned, price target could go literally as high as $10 to $15. I think $20 is a little bit more of a moon boy kind of talk, but I do realistically believe that Aerodrome does have the potential to go ahead and hit about $5 to $6, which from this bottom is about a 10x return. So Arrow is a decentralized exchange, which you could also go ahead and check out on Coinbase. So all these tokens that I just mentioned, you can check out on Coinbase. Really easy for you guys to purchase. But yeah, I hope we start to see the market continue to move up. As I mentioned, Ethereum has been looking really good. A lot of very positive news. But I do have to go ahead and get going, guys. I do have another office hour to go ahead and be hosting very soon in a couple of minutes. So I really do appreciate all of you guys tuning in today in today's live stream. If you guys are brand new to the channel, go ahead and smash that like button, turn on post notifications. Catch myself and Tristan on Thursday's live stream. Well, hopefully there's a lot more news, and hopefully we could be seeing some sort of breakout to the upside where we could be having something excited to talk about the market. But things are looking really good, guys. Hold on tight. I know the markets have been a little bit depressing. It's been very, very hard seeing your portfolio down 60, 80%. But I do think our time will be coming soon where all those tokens we've been holding on to is finally going to start to pay off. So just hold on tight. We're almost there, guys. But I do believe moving forward towards the end of summer, if not in the middle of summer, this is going to be a really good, exciting market. It really reminds me of what we were seeing during the pandemic. Not as aggressive, but this could all change, and maybe they do start releasing stimulus checks, right? I think that definitely would pump the market. But with that being said, guys, I hope all of you have a wonderful day. If you guys are in our private community, make sure to go ahead and join me in my office hours. I do have in a few minutes. And if you're not in our private community, go ahead and make sure to check out our free community down below in the description. With that being said, I hope all of you have a great rest of your day, and I'll catch you all on Thursday with Tristan to go ahead and talk about the next market update. Catch you all there.